everybody, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts from coast to coast with your hosts, Ariel and Raylene. Woohoo!
What's up? That was the most beautiful introduction we've ever had.
I think I really nailed it.
Very well done.
I went in with the right energy, I think. Hello,
Yes.
Raylene. How are you doing?
I am doing quite well. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, although I think we've definitely mentioned this before on the podcast. I think people know that when we record, we are also video calling because it just makes it easier for like having a conversation / we like to hold up the books we're talking about to show each other. So today on camera, I think you can see that I have a cut across my forehead.
Yes, indeed.
And I also sent you a photo a few hours after the injury happened. I am doing another home renovation project, soon to be on my YouTube channel, I'm sure. And a piece of wood flung up and smacked me on the head and cut my forehead incredibly, very horizontally. Like it's completely parallel to the ground, how straight this cut is on the right side of my forehead. So I was saying this to my friend. I was like, how often do adults cut their faces? Like, it's very rare, right?
Yeah, because you don't play anymore.
Maybe you're not
run
playing.
around, smack your forehead on trees and stuff.
But I feel like I haven't had a cut on my face in a really long time, and I haven't worn foundation in like, I don't know, 6 years or 5 years or something. So I also don't cover it. So I'm like, what, is there just going to be a cut on my head?
Mm-hmm. It is what it is. You can't hide from it.
I don't even have foundation anymore. But anyways, I guess I wouldn't put foundation on a cut. I wouldn't want to get an infection. Not that anyone cares about the health of my face.
Ruin the cut.
There you go. But yeah, other than my injury, I'm doing well. It's a nice sunny day. And what can I say? It's Father's Day as well. It won't be Father's Day when this comes out. Because we're always late to everything. I feel like we're supposed to look ahead on the calendar and be like, when the episode comes out, it's this day. But we're
not good at that, though.
We're not good at that. So happy Father's Day, a week late. To any of the fathers who are listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're out there. Our demographics show that it's mainly women that listen to the pod. But I'm sure there are fathers out there as well. So happy Father's Day. And let's jump into the bookish conversation here, Raylene, because we have a lot of bookish things to discuss.
Oh, do we ever?
Do we ever? We have a lot of good. I'm actually very excited to jump into things. Let us begin with, did you finish anything this week that you want to talk about or review? What are you reading? You told me. I actually know. You told me you've read 2 things, and I have no idea what they are.
Yeah, I finished 2 books basically in the same night the other day. I kind of just went on a crazy binge and read a whole bunch. And then yesterday I didn't read anything. I just watched movies. So it was kind of a crazy little time for me. But I finished Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. So I knocked that hardcover off my list.
I'm proud of you.
It was really good. Like, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it ended up being really, really good.
Yeah.
And like I said when I first talked about it, it is very like steeped in the trans community and culture, and I feel like I learned a lot through reading it. And for anybody who wants to learn more about the community, I would highly recommend it just for that alone. But it also has such an interesting story, and it's kind of complicated and weird because I didn't really talk about the plot last time, but essentially it's about 3 people, a trans woman named Reese, and basically her past partner, who was named Amy at the time, another trans woman. They were together for 6 years, wanted to have a baby together, and then something happened. And at the beginning of the book, you don't know what happened, but they split up and they kind of hate each other almost now. And so it's many years later, and Amy has now detransitioned and goes by Ames. Okay. And he basically gets someone pregnant, and then it's so crazy. It's such a crazy situation. It's like a movie. And then he asks Reese if she wants to help raise the baby with them. And so, because she really wants a baby more than anything.
Right.
And so it's kind of this story of these 3 people's very complicated relationships and how they work together. And the story went in a direction I wasn't expecting it to, but it was very good. So I highly recommend it. It was a very interesting book, unlike anything I've ever read before. And so I recommend that. And then last time we spoke, we did a TBR challenge.
We sure did.
I did complete the book. So I read 5 Little Indians by Michelle Good.
Yes.
And I was worried I wasn't going to have enough time to finish it because I started reading it like on Thursday. It's now Sunday when we record.
Totally.
And I was like, oh God, I'm not gonna be able to finish it. But I flew through it in like 2 days.
So it was
good. so good.
Yay.
I was expecting it to be kind of a slow read because it is about such heavy subject matter. It's about a bunch of kids who went to a residential school and about the ways that it kind of follows them throughout their lives. So it's not, I thought it was going to be more about them actually attending the school and that would be the whole plot of the book, but that's not really what it's about. It's more about what happens after and how the trauma follows them throughout their lives and into adulthood. It skips through time quite a lot, so it's a very fast moving book.
Okay.
There's no slow parts, basically. It's just constant like stuff happening.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was so good. It's probably one of the best books I've read so far this year. It definitely is one of the few 5 stars that I've given out. It was just incredible. I think everybody should read this book, particularly if you're Canadian and white. I think it's a really educational book for me anyway. It was having not really read many books by Indigenous authors, which I am now trying to fix, obviously, but it's a really great place to start, I would say, for anybody who is looking for books on the subject. So yeah, highly recommend. Really, really, really good. I'm glad that we decided to do that random TBR challenge.
Yeah. I thought it was a really fun challenge as well. So we haven't done one in a while. Also, it was kind of fun that we both did it. Because I was like, well, I've got to read it because Raylene's probably going to read hers.
I definitely will.
So, yeah, I also read my TBR challenge book. I didn't finish anything else, but that's fine. So the book that I had for the TBR challenge was This Place, 150 Years Retold. It's an anthology, so it's hard to be by whoever. The foreword is by Alicia Elliott, but there's 10 different stories, all graphic. They're not graphic novels; they're graphic short stories, I guess. But that makes it sound like it's like graphic material.
They're illustrated short stories.
Yeah, illustrated stories. I have no idea how to put that. That's
short
a challenge.
Comics. I don't know.
That might be better, short comics. But yeah, so it was so fascinating. So I think I mentioned this on the last on the episode where we challenged ourselves to read these books. That this was released on the anniversary of Canada's 50th. Is it a birthday? Is it Canada's birthday? That sounds dumb. I feel like countries don't have birthdays, but there you go. But since Confederation, since the country, the concept of the Canada that we know existed, but this came out at the same time, and the idea in the subtitle of 150 Years Retold is this opportunity and this really cool celebration of going back and looking at those 150 years from an Indigenous Canadian perspective and looking at I do want to be careful saying Canadian because I know that there are Indigenous people that don't identify as Canadian. They identify with the places where they're from and that their culture is. But I just mean that to differentiate between there's no American writers in here, etc.
Okay.
So anyways, it has these 10 stories and they were okay. Did you ever watch the Heritage Minutes, Canadian Heritage Minutes? Did you have cable growing up? Because I feel like neither did we, but that's why we saw the Heritage Minutes because they just they played on the CBC channel, whatever the hell CBC was on, channel 32, I think. Back when I was a kid, this is one of these things that I just don't think kids these days will understand. Let alone we don't understand for our parents. But growing up, we had a little antenna. on our TV, and we got like 8 channels, and it was channel 16, which was PBS, where we would watch Arthur, and channel 32, which was TVO, I guess. And yeah, anyway, there was a French channel.
Yeah, I was the same. I had like only 2 channels to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Which in a way was fun though, because you knew everyone like at school was watching the same shows, right? It wasn't like now we're on Netflix. It's like there's so much to pick from. I'm going on a bunch of tangents here, but my point is that Canada, since the early 90s, has made these heritage minutes, and it's a minute long. I guess it's like a commercial, but the whole point is that it's just 1 minute about a person or a moment in Canadian history. I really recommend that people watch these, because not only are they so outdated, like they're just so hilariously acted, they're so dramatic, but they're also fascinating. So they go through and like celebrate different Canadian figures throughout history, and they're just this like opportunity to learn a little bit. They're clearly like, government propaganda to just try and tell everyone about different Canadian people. But I loved them growing up, because I actually did learn about stuff. Like there's this one really dramatic one about Laura Secord. It's funny because in Canada, Laura Secord is a very famous name because of it's an ice cream store in malls.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
I think maybe it's not as big in BC, but yeah, there's Laura Secord is like an ice cream store, but it's named after Laura Secord, who told the British soldiers about she overheard the American plan, and she was like, "They're coming in 2 days hence." And then, it was like an important pivotal moment. Anyways, why am I saying this? Because all of these short stories felt like Indigenous history minutes. It was cool. These 10 pages where I learned about a very specific person or a specific event or a specific tradition. And I learned so much. And the other really cool thing is that at the beginning of every story, there's sort of 2 title pages, and I'm showing them to Raylene. So the first title page has the name of the story, and then it has like a couple of paragraphs from the author of the story, who's kind of like explaining why they wanted to tell this story. But then at the bottom of the page, there's this really big timeline, and it shows you like in 1867, that was the Confederation of Canada. And then in 1868, Canada First is founded. The movement promotes a British Protestant ideology as central to the Canadian identity. So do you know what I mean? Like it's like it goes through and it tells you these different moments in history and how they impacted Indigenous communities. Then you flip the page and it's like a more kind of cinematic title page. Whoa. And then the story happens. So I thought that was really cool because, again, it's just a great opportunity to learn a lot of stuff. It was just like lots of learning. Like any graphic novel anthology or any anthology or short story collection, there were some stories that I liked and some that I just didn't really connect to. It's hard because the drawing style is so different in a lot of them. Like some of them really look like comic books, and I don't like that style of drawing. I'm just not really, it just doesn't do anything for me. But then there are some that are like really like watercolory, and some that are, there's just like different vibes. So some I really liked, some I still learned from, but it just wasn't my art style. And that's the thing about graphic novels. You have to not only like the story, but you also have to like the drawing, right? Yeah, it's a packaged deal. But if people are out there and they're like, I really want to learn more about Indigenous history, or I want to find a bunch of Indigenous creators, because obviously we've got Indigenous storytellers here, but also a lot of Indigenous illustrators. So if you're looking for that, what a great opportunity. 10 stories in one. There you go. And I'm really glad to have read it, because I feel like I'd had that book on my shelf for like a year, and that's not very long for me.
So you're on the right direction.
I'm in the right direction.
You're doing a great job.
All right. Well, now it's time to talk about what we're currently reading. And Raylene, you're not currently reading anything, are you?
No, I'm not, because as I mentioned a couple of days ago, I kind of was speeding through a couple of books and I finished them. And then I came to the realization a few days ago that a month ago, I hauled a book called The Cat I Never Named, which was a hardcover, which I have not read. It's been a month and I haven't read the book. Therefore, this is a beautiful opportunity. I gave Ariel like 4 or 5 days notice. I was like, there's no way I'm going to finish this book before we record. So here comes my punishment. It's time for you to pick my next read. So I am not reading anything at the moment because I have no idea what Ariel is going to pick for me, and I'm so excited.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I have the power now.
Yeah. I failed. I screwed up. And now she gets to punish me.
It's a pretty fun punishment to get to
I just don't know which direction you're going to take it in. I'm like, are you going to make me read The Count of Monte Cristo, or are you going to make me read a book that you've been wanting me to read, or a fantasy book? You always like making me read fantasy, so I'm just so curious. Like, you could pick anything for me and I will have to read it.
There's a lot of angles I could have gone on, and I was in the middle of actually in the middle of getting my head cut by that piece of wood. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm going to go take a break. And so I stepped outside to just sit under a tree. And I looked at my phone, and I had all these photos from you, because Raylene sent me like photos of her bookshelves. And you said, okay, so I will not be reading a hardcover that I hauled a month ago by this Sunday. So guess what? You get to pick my next read. And you said, you said you had 2 other ones that were on your e-reader. So that counted as well. And then I said, oh my God, this is so exciting. I am going to look at all of the options and carefully and get back to you ASAP. And you said, oh no, you have 4 days. And I was like, oh, thank God. I
thought it was going to take me a little longer to finish my other 2 books. So I was like, I'll be fine. I'll be still reading them on Sunday, but then I accidentally finished them really early. So yeah, I didn't do any reading yesterday, which felt weird, but was kind of fun at the same time.
Like you said, I have a lot of ways that I could take this. Okay.
I also forgot that I could do rereads. I didn't send you pictures of my other books.
Yeah, I figured that's okay. There's so many to pick from here.
I have so many options.
I was like, number 1, the classic go-to is I could just pick a book I want you to read, right? Like maybe it's a book that I am dying for you to read, or a book that I love and you haven't read yet, or something along those veins. Number 2, I could like try and make this like a proper punishment. Like you said, I could try and make you read The Count of Monte Cristo or whatever, and then you'd be trapped.
And I'd have to finish it, but it's a good thing because it's like I do want to read that book, obviously.
Exactly, if you own it, exactly. Or I could try and like make you read something out of your comfort zone, and like so I basically was like, here's what I'm gonna do. This was my ruling decision was I am going to make Raylene read something that she wouldn't read otherwise. Like if I didn't pick it right now, I know it's going to take you another year to get to it, right?
Okay.
So that's what I was going to direction. So I went through all of the photos, and ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of photos and there's a lot of books here. I went through all of the photos, picking out like what are the books that I think Raylene is not going to read anytime soon, if we're being honest, ladies and gentlemen. And I picked 2. And I was like, okay, I am going to let Raylene pick between these 2 different factors, not the books, these factors, because I was also like, I had picked one basically, and it's super long. It's long. And I was like, wait a minute, if I do that to her, if I fail a punishment, she'll probably try and punish me back. And I was like,
that's true. I'll have you reading that giant George Orwell biography or something.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to breed hostility right now. So I'm going to give you the choice. Option number 1 is a long book. I think you're going to really enjoy this. I looked it up. The reviews are phenomenal. It has a very high rating. People seem to really enjoy it. But it is a big boy. Like, it is a big boy. The other option is a shorter book that I think is very readable based on the reviews. It also has high reviews, but it seems easier to get through. It's more popular. Which of those 2 would you like to do? And it's okay. Like if there's no, like if you pick the easier one, it's not like you're being lame or anything.
I just don't know what to pick. I kind of feel like I shouldn't be allowed to choose. Oh man! I wish I knew what they were. Because the thing is, I kind of do want to read a long book, and I kind of like it when you tell me to read a long book. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. Because the last time that we did this, it wasn't like a challenge or a punishment, but I just was like couldn't decide what to read. I sent you pictures of my shelves, and you thought really hard about it and chose The Priory of the Orange Tree,
which
I ended up loving.
Yeah,
and it like wasn't bad that it was long because I enjoyed it so much. So, okay, I have one question.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll answer it, but do both of the books feel like they'd be good summer reads?
Oh, that is a very interesting question. The first, the large one, it doesn't tell me based on the synopsis when it takes place, and in fact, I believe it takes place over a long period of time. So it might go through summer at some point, but you know what? It does not strike me as a summer book.
Okay.
The second one, the shorter one, does strike me as a summary book.
Ooh.
I'm looking it up to confirm, but I am
flip
pretty
a coin because I can't decide. I feel like I shouldn't be allowed to decide. I don't have a coin.
I mean, if you can't pick, I think I will pick the long one because that was sort of my
I feel like I shouldn't be allowed to choose.
All
so
right,
just pick
if you don't, I was trying to be friendly. I was trying to give you an out, but if you are not taking the out, that's on you, my friend. So for you, I have chosen.
Oh God.
Don't worry, it's not like a Dance with Dragons or anything. I have chosen the Makioka Sisters. I know.
That's a great choice.
Yay!
One of my friends said that she wants to also read that this summer, so I'll have a buddy to read it with, so it'll be fun.
The moment has come for you to read this book. So it says on Wikipedia, on Goodreads, sorry, it says that it's 530 pages. On your shelf, it looks like you might have a longer edition of it.
Yeah, because I think the one I have is a little bit shorter and stouter.
Part of the reason
that's so exciting. I thought you were going to pick me a fantasy book. I was scared it was going to be The Way of Kings, so that's why I was like, do I want to read that right this moment?
Part of the reason that I picked this one was because I was there when you bought these. I remember we were hanging out at my house and you had discovered these Japanese classic editions.
Yeah.
Or are they all Japanese or are they all just
Yes, it's
Asian?
called I think Vintage Japan is the name of the series.
They're beautiful. And you were like, do I just buy one or do I buy all of them or something? And I was like, go crazy. And you bought like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I bought 4. I bought all of the ones except for the 2 books that I already owned.
Right.
In different editions.
So I remember being there when you bought them. So I liked that I sort of felt like I was connected to it. But I also feel like we've had a couple of recommendation requests lately that have been like for generational sagas or for like really big family dramas and stuff like that. And the last one I've read, I think, is The House of the Spirits, and I loved it. And it's just so fun to get to spend that much time with one family.
I agree. I do love that.
And so I almost chose Pachinko, which is a similar vibe in that it's like a really big family vibe set.
That's funny
because
in my head I was like over the past few days I was like, I had a feeling you were going to pick Pachinko for some reason. Like I was just like, it's a longer book. It's one I've been dying to read for a while. So I had that. That's funny.
The reason I didn't pick that is twofold. First of all, I really want to read it as well, and so I feel like I'm not ready to read it, and so if you read it, you'll read it way faster than me and I'll be left behind. But secondly, I already know what that one's all about. I really don't know anything about the Makioka sisters. Like I read the synopsis and I read people's reviews and stuff, but I don't have a friend who has read it, and so I thought it would be really cool to hear from you about this book. I don't really know anything about it. A 1948 Japanese book that I just don't know anything about. I thought would be really cool. So
that's awesome.
That is what I have chosen for you.
I love it. Can I know what the other book was that you were thinking?
Oh, yes. The other choice was going to be My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante.
Ooh, that's another fun one.
I was going to pick that one because obviously I just bought that one for you very recently, and because I think it would be very easy to read because so many people have read that book. It seems like it's kind of just like a straightforward pick. But I also didn't think you were going to pick it up soon. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's funny because I do have it on my little shelf of books I plan to read soon, but it's been there for like a couple of months.
Exactly.
So like I really intend to read it, but I just haven't quite had the push yet. So that's another great pick though.
That's why I was like I might knock that one in to just push it forward and make you read it sooner than you probably would. But my heart was in the Makioka sisters. So I'm glad that we ended up there. I just didn't want to give you a really long book because now I'm scared you're going to give me a really long book. I have till the next time we record, so in 2 weeks, to read Common Ground by Naomi Ishiguro.
True.
The hardcovers I keep accidentally buying.
And if you get punished, you get punished.
Exactly.
It's not that bad of a punishment.
It's really not.
Like, I would never pick something for you that you don't want to read.
No, exactly. I bought all these books. I want to read them all, so I really can't lose. But yeah, so now let's... Oh, no, wait. I get to talk about what I'm currently reading.
Yeah.
I started, and I am on page 49, so I'm not deep into it, but I have started, The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gamenhart? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Gemeinhart? Sorry, Dan.
Gemeinhart. This is a book I picked up a couple months ago, because I was doing this huge deep dive online. I was trying to find books about alternative living. I definitely talked about this a little bit on a podcast before, but last summer when COVID was like really, we were all still learning what it really was. We'd only been living in a COVID world for a few months and everything was very hectic and stressful. My family, like for the landlord of the rental house we were living in, decided to sell the house because the real estate market is crazy. And he was like, I want to sell it and make money. And we were like, okay, where do we go? It's COVID. And he was like, sorry.
I don't care.
And we were like, wow, okay, this is bad because, I understand it's good for you because real estate is going crazy, but because real estate is going crazy, there's nowhere to live. Everything is super expensive, and people are like, we're going crazy for rentals as well. Like the rental market has just been nuts. Yeah. So because of that is why I bought this house. I'd already been hoping to buy a house, and as Raylene knows, I took her to an island far, far away to look at some cabins. So I've been looking for real estate for a while, and I knew I really wanted to buy this house. But before I found this beautiful house, which was actually affordable, nothing was affordable. Everything in BC was so expensive. And so I started to think about alternative living. And I dove deep. I learned so much about this really awesome community. And I think that there's so much about like the quote unquote alternative living scene that is basically just like anything that isn't your traditional house, you know, anything that isn't your normal standard, I buy a house, I pay for electricity. Like some of these people live in quote basically normal homes, but they're completely off the grid because all of their power, like their electricity comes from solar panel, or they're people who grow all of their own food and have livestock, or they're people who live in yurts, people that live in tiny homes, all of these different ways of living. And I became so fascinated in it. I am still so fascinated in it. I am not done. Right now I'm broke because I did buy this house and I'm like fixing it up and stuff, but I still absolutely harbor these dreams of like either getting a school bus and converting it, or making a tiny home, or like buying a cabin, you know what I mean? Like still learning about that stuff and experiencing some of it. But anyways, so interested in it. I was like, it would be so fun to watch movies about this or read books about this. And oh my God, Raylene, there's nothing. It is such slim pickings. And I guess it is alternative living, right? Like it is a small fraction of the population here in Canada that is doing stuff like this and isn't living in traditional homing or housing. And so there's just, I guess, aren't that many people writing stories about it. But this is one that a lot of people recommended, and people who have read it really loved it. And it's about a daughter and her dad who live in a school bus. And the school bus is called Jaeger, which is funny because basically, I forget, there was it's a school bus from a school. Obviously, it's a decommissioned bus. It says here, I just got to the page by accident. Once upon a time, our home had the words Voyager Day School painted in black on her yellow sides. But when we bought her, Rodeo, which is her dad, had scratched most of those letters off to give her a new, less institutional sounding name. So just keeping the letters Jaeger in there.
I see.
From Voyager. Yeah. So it's the kind of the wacky stories of her and her dad, and right at the beginning, the first thing that happens is she gets a kitten. And the only thing that kind of made me nervous about the book was that it was middle grade. Nothing against middle grade, but I'm obviously not the target demographic for middle grade, as I am not in middle school. And I don't read middle grade, just like I don't remember the last time I read a middle grade book, so I'm just not used to the genre. But I thought, what the hell, throw caution to the wind, I'll get it. And it's so fun so far. Obviously I said that's good. I'm only 50 pages in, but it is really cool to read about people living in different ways and thinking about what not necessarily bad, but just the consequence of living on a bus. Like, what changes about your life and what are the different factors about living on a bus that you wouldn't think about if you're living in a house. So it's super fun. I'm excited to keep going. Definitely is giving me Captain Fantastic vibes.
Oh, nice.
Which is all I care about. Oh, God. Viggo Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen, hi. I'm your biggest fan.
I have a question about the book.
Yeah.
Does the bus just stay in one place and they live in it, or
No.
do they drive it around?
They drive it around.
Oh, cool.
Basically, the kind of catalyst, and we don't know much about this yet. Clearly, it's going to become a bigger deal throughout the book. But basically, her mom and her, I forget if it was one or two sisters, died in a car accident. Oh. And when that happened, her dad, again, they haven't gone into it yet, but clearly her dad decided to then pack up their life and leave and live on the road. So they bought this bus, and she has now been living on the bus for 5 years, and she's 12. So most of her life that she has a memory of has been on this bus with her dad. But she definitely does remember her mom, and she remembers that there was an accident, and she... it says on the back of the bus, or on the back of the bus, it says on the back of the book that she tricks her dad into driving back to their like original hometown where the accident happened. It says two sisters on the back. Yeah, it says that since those 5 years has passed, they haven't been back to their home or to their hometown. So she tricks them into driving back. But yeah, it's cool because literally the book starts when they're at a gas station, obviously fueling up the bus. Mm-hmm. She goes in to get a Slurpee. What is it? Define North America without saying North America. Went to a gas station to get a Slurpee. And once she's in there, there's this little kid who really wants a Slurpee but doesn't have any money, so she buys him a Slurpee as well. And then when he goes out, him and his little brother are sitting on the side of the road with a box of kittens. And they want to give her one because they're like, you got me the Slurpee, take a kitten. And so she does, and she's like, you've got to help me get it into my house. And they're like, what? And she's like, that's my house right there, the school bus. And they're both like, whoa, I've never met somebody who lives on a school bus before. So you see that she is very comfortable traveling and with like talking with strangers and stuff because that's her whole life. Cool. Yeah, it's really neat so far. So I'll let you know. We'll see if I finish. I should finish. 2 weeks, Ariel. 2 weeks to finish a middle grade book.
I think you can do it.
Come on, Ariel. Get your act together. Jesus Christ. I think about how I did a master's in English literature and I had to read like 3 books a week. And now I can't finish like a graphic novel in 2 weeks. I don't know what happened. Maybe I burned out. Maybe all my energy went to that program and now I can never read well again.
You'll just never be the same again.
I'll tell you what, really, I haven't been the same since. All right, let's jump into a book haul because I hear, Raylene, you bought a lot of books.
I did. Gosh, I kind of forgot that I was going to get to do this on the air. I have so many books. Okay, I'm going to try and just zip right through this. And I swear to God, I haven't purchased a book in June. These are all ones that I ordered either at the beginning of the year or like in April, May.
Yeah.
So these all just rolled in and it's not my fault.
It's not her fault, ladies and gentlemen. It was out of her control.
It really is. Oh man. Every time I get a notification from Indigo saying, one of your books is out for delivery, I'm like, but another one? Like, I thought I was all done, but I'm not.
That's really funny.
Okay. I'm just going to start from the top of the stack. So the first one, and one that I actually got most recently, you don't know about this one yet because it wasn't in my pictures, is Tokyo Ueno Station by
Oh my
Yu
God,
Ri.
Raylene. I have it.
We both have it. It's was it right on top of your stack?
I had it right here next to me.
You had it right next to you.
We were doing the book haul section, so I moved the only book I got, Tokyo Ueno Station. I remember you talking about this book at some point, and I remember thinking it sounded really cool, so I looked it up on Indigo, and it said that like 3 months from now the paperback is coming out. So
that's why I bought it.
Yes, I pre-ordered the paperback like 3 months ago when I bought some other books, and it finally arrived in the mail. It's so beautiful. Isn't this so beautiful?
It's a cutie.
It's so cute. That's hilarious. All right, well, tell me all about it.
That is very, very funny. I mean, this one, it's funny because I bought it, but I don't really remember what it's about. But this one is, it won the National Book Award, which was why I talked about it, I think, back when I talked about it. Because I was going through a few of the highlights from the National Book Award. So this is like my new favorite award. So I'm just going to read any book that has won this award. But yeah, this one seems very interesting. One of the just like little bits on the back here, it says a surreal, moving story of a homeless ghost who haunts one of Tokyo's busiest train stations.
Amazing.
So like already, like that's all I need to know. Sounds super weird and cool, and it's a tiny little book. It's like 150 pages and very cute. So I'm hoping to read that one soon. Gosh, we should do a buddy read.
We should do a buddy read.
Serendipity.
It's super, like you said, it's super short. It's what is it? 180 pages, but it's got huge margins, and like it's a short, like it's a not tall book, it's a short book. So I feel like we could fly through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking up the station. I'm trying to see if I have been to Tokyo Ueno Station, because imagine if I haven't, I like have a photo there. That would be so cool for the Instagram. Also, before you move on, I had an idea for merch, Raylene. Let's ask the people live on the air if they would buy my mug idea. What if we made a mug that had all of the stickers from our favorite prizes on it? So
what an idea.
Because we are clearly long-term book prize lovers. So it's like a mug that has like the women's prize on sticker on it, the National Book Award. We'd need the International Booker Prize. What other ones do we have? Maybe we can't do this idea until we have a couple more like fan favorites of like prizes that we're really obsessed with. I would definitely put the George Orwell Prize sticker on there, even though I'll probably never read any of those books because they're all just like political nonfiction.
Oh yeah.
But that's if there's so there you go. I think that's a brilliant merch idea. The people can let us know if they want it.
That's hilarious. Well, in we go. We're diving back in. So I also pre-ordered, because I found out the paperback was coming out for a book I had already read, and that is Almond by Won Pyung-son.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah, I got the paperback because I took this out from the library a few months ago when I read it, and I loved it. It was so good, so I had decided that I wanted to own it, but I was willing to wait for the paperback. Yeah. Somehow I managed to be strong and not buy the hardcover, even though I didn't need it. So I'm really glad to finally own that, because that's a good one that I'll definitely be revisiting someday. And then, this one I'm very excited about. It's a confusing cover, which I'll explain in a moment, but it's The Stepford Wives by Ira Levin, which I talked about a while ago because I watched the movie and really loved it. Yeah. What's funny about my cover is that it's a movie cover from the original 1970s version, but there's a sticker on it that says now a major motion picture starring Nicole Kidman. So it's like, it's a movie tie-in, but for both movies.
That's actually crazy.
It is crazy. Weird. And I think this is a brand new copy. I bought it from Book Depository, but it has kind of like a vintagey look to the inside. Like the pages look kind of yellowed a little bit, which I like. It's kind of cool. And it's a tiny little book. I didn't realize it was so small. So I'm really excited about this one because the movie was so good.
That's awesome.
So that's one I could see myself reading soon, potentially. And then this one is very exciting, which we can actually take a little intermission to talk about our next book club, because I got
fantastic.
100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And I got this beautiful little Orange Penguin Classics edition.
That is classy as heck.
Yes. And this is the one that has won our poll for our next book club by a landslide.
Oh my god! I know. Let me bring
a slight landslide. But yeah, read out what the options were.
Is there such a thing as a slight landslide? I don't know if that's how that works, really. So yes, it was our last book club was obviously Emma by Miss Jane Austen. And we thought it would be fun or that more aptly, that it was about time to get the next vote going for our next book club. And so this was posted publicly on our Patreon, if anyone for some reason wants to go see. I don't know why they would, but there you go. You could. Maybe you want to. You can see the little graphic I made for all of the covers.
It's beautiful.
But yes, these are the options. We had The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, Wild by Cheryl Strayed, There by Tommy Orange, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and Strange Weather in Tokyo by Harumi Kawakami. Did you have a secret favorite, Raylene? Were you gunning for something?
I really wanted Strange Weather in Tokyo to win. I feel like we've put that one on like 3 book
we
club
haven't.
polls.
No, we haven't
And
because
I feel like we have. But
no,
maybe we
we've
haven't.
done the Nakano thrift shop as well.
Oh, that's what it is.
So obviously, same
I just
author.
really want to
similar
read those
cover.
books.
I know, but we've done some of these other ones as well. Like I really wanted Wild to win.
Yeah, me
because I
too.
just feel like you and me need to read it, but clearly it was out of our hands. And the people voted for 100 Years of Solitude. And I swear to God, I don't understand our people because they keep picking long books. And
I know, but we keep making the mistake of putting those books
I
on
mean,
as
that's
an
the
option.
true mistake.
I don't know why we keep doing this to ourselves.
Why do we give them this power? We will never do that again, ladies and gentlemen. But the votes, the tallies are in 5th place. They're there with 56 votes. And then the next one was The Flat Share with 65 votes, and then Wild by Cheryl Strayed, 71 votes.
Ooh.
And then now this is where we're getting into it. So that was 71. Strange Weather in Tokyo had 77, so that was close.
Oof.
And then 100 Years of Solitude, 88. So
Wow.
it did win, but I would say it was by a slight landslide.
A slight landslide.
The comments are fun as well, though.
Yeah.
People said, Marlo said, please, I need an excuse to stop making a mashed potato out of 100 Years of Solitude. So that's fair. Clara said, I just bought 100 Years of Solitude after the A.S. King episode, and I need support in reading it. So maybe that was part of our mistake. A.S. King sold it too good.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think it's kind of like a perfect book club pick because we literally had one of our favorite authors,
Yes.
who we also did one of her books for our book club a few months ago.
What a cycle.
So it's kind of like a beautiful little cycle. Exactly. Like we
Yes.
read one of her books and loved it, and then she told us we had to read this book, and now we are going to. This one has been on my radar for I've known about it for a long time, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to read it. So it's basically been on my I need to read this for about a month now, and I'm already going to read it. So I think that's kind of
cool.
awesome.
It is
turnaround.
awesome. It is awesome. And I specifically remember when I bought it, as we talked about on the A.S. King episode, it was for that course in my undergrad. So that would have been 3rd year of my undergrad. So that would have been 2015 or 2014 when I bought this book. So I have had it for a super long time. So it is.
Yeah.
This is definitely a mashed potato book for me. I also commented on the book club post. I said, "Why do you people always pick the longest one?" And we got some good comments. Larissa said, "I'm so not ready to try 100 Years of Solitude again. I DNF'd it earlier because of fear." Emily wrote, I expressly did not vote for it because I didn't want to take that much time away from my other reading goals. And Katrine wrote, I'm wondering the exact same thing. Why these people keep... And Naira wrote, to help you and ourselves conquer our fear of big books, which is a positive way of looking at this tragedy.
Exactly.
But yes, also I wanted to mention that Caitlin wrote, 100 Years of Solitude is available on Libby for her. So that would probably be a big benefit of this as our book club book because I'm sure it's available widely at libraries.
100%.
Because it's such a massively popular book, but it's not currently popular. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like a new release or anything, so I'm sure your library will have a version of it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually. I didn't really fully realize that we were doing 2 classics in a row because we did Emma, and now we're doing this one. So that's kind of good because it is a goal for both of us to read more classics. So
totally.
No complaints here, and to read more long books and conquer your fear. So it's a beautiful thing. Pretty excited. Well, I do have 4 more books to haul.
Oh my God, really? You keep going.
I told you, I did a really bad thing a couple of months ago. I just lost it. So the next one is one that we have talked about a little bit, I guess. The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez.
Yes.
This was one of our International Man Booker shortlist books that we were hoping, or I was hoping to read.
Going on on the mug is what it is. That sticker's going on the mug.
It's wonderful. And I got this really cool, creepy cover with this woman's face, and there's fingers going into her eyes, and it's it's kind of creepy, but I like it a lot. And I ordered this from Book Depository.
It really does have a cool cover. That's
so I really like it. And this is a collection of short stories, and it didn't win the prize, unfortunately, but I don't care. It's still going to be a great book. And it was one of those ones that I just felt like I really needed to own because it's short stories, and I'm trying to grow my short story collection. And I don't really know much about the stories. I think they're kind of horror adjacent, some of them, and they're kind of spooky. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be reading it soon. I might save it for October. But
right. Raylene, I have had a breakthrough for the mug idea, okay?
Oh, God.
In huge text on the mug, it said, we have the stickers of the different prizes, but then it says in text, all books are winners.
This is so funny because you're pitching it like it's like the greatest idea you've ever had, but I'm trying to imagine this mug and I don't know if it's gonna look good. I'm just gonna be totally
Oh my God, Raylene, you're not having the vision I'm having. It's amazing. I'm actually kind of liking the idea of it being cringy. That's part of why it's hilarious to me. But like, also, what if we? I'm sorry, I'm really getting a lot of great ideas over here. Yeah. We could design our own book award, like the Books Unbound award. That's fake, and we'll never actually do it. But that will be one of the badges that's on the mug. Or we could have little stars, little trophy emojis all over it.
Emojis. That'll really add to the effect.
That'll add to the class and elegance.
Classic elegance. Oh man, very 2021. Okay, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. I'm powering through this book haul. I just don't know what happened. I don't know why.
I know what happened. We were all there as it happened, Raylene. Every week we joined you as it happened. You had a mental breakdown and you bought too many books.
I did. And now I'm happy to have them because now, I mean, happy and also scared because I have so many books that
I feel like your collection has grown so much. It would be really cool. Do you know offhand, and it's okay if you totally don't because I don't anymore after I moved, but do you know how many books you own?
Let me just pull up my inventory spreadsheet. I haven't added these books to the spreadsheet yet.
I love you, Raylene. I love that you know that you're like, let me reference my inventory spreadsheet.
Yeah. And just for full clarity, this includes every single copy of The Great Gatsby I have, every single different Harry Potter edition I have. So there are lots of duplicates, but all in all,
but accounted for.
Except for the books that I have here that I haven't added yet, I have 732 books.
732 books. So, and does that include all the manga?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I think it would be so cool if you were able to count how many, well, maybe you can. Do you have the inventory in order? Like, do you just add a book every time you get it?
Yeah.
And do you add the date in which you get it?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
It's a very simple sheet. It's just
maybe
like
you remember,
the
though. Do you know what the first book you got in 2021 was?
I started a spreadsheet. I did start a spreadsheet for my purchases that I did not keep up.
Okay.
2021 book buying. Let's see, what was the first book I bought?
I love this. This is happening, ladies and gentlemen.
It was, we're going into data. It's happening. So the first books I bought two at the same time at a thrift store. I got East of Eden and The Red Pony by John Steinbeck.
Okay, so can you go to your inventory, look at where those are on the list, and count how many you've bought this year? That's what I want.
They're in order alphabetically by author.
Oh, I thought they were in order of when you bought them. No, I got you. Because we could have figured out, I thought it would be very funny if we could figure out, like, what percentage of your book collection you bought this year. Oh, God. Because I feel like it's like you've added, like, 10% to your book pile just this year.
I believe that. If I felt the need to do it, I could go back through our website book list and count up all the ones that were hauled.
Are new, that were hauled. Oh my God, you're right. Anyway.
So I'm kind of scared to do that, but I kind of want to at the same time.
It's just funny how many books you've got this year. But I mean, they're all books you want to read. So it's cool.
Exactly. It's just the only problem is that now when I finish a book and I go to my shelves to pick my next book, it's impossible to choose because there's so many things. I always constantly want to read 30 books at the same time and I just can't do it. So it kind of hurts my brain a little bit, which is why I was happy to have you pick my next book. It actually it came at the perfect time. I might get you to do this more often just for fun.
Yeah, I just have to keep picking really long books that take you like 2 weeks to read, and that way I can do it every 2 weeks on the podcast.
Oh, that would be perfect. That's a great plan. Let's definitely do that moving forward. Okay, so the next book that I got is one that I bought purely on the recommendation of our buddy Max, who was just on the podcast recently. He read it and gave it a beautiful review on Goodreads, and then I just bought it. So that is Love and Other Thought Experiments by Sophie Ward. I'm not sure if you've seen this one floating around.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, this one, it's got kind of a cool cover. It almost looks like it's 3D, like the people are, there's two versions of the people, and it looks kind of creepy. I'm just going to read this little synopsis from the back so it gives you an idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Sophie Kinsella blurbed it. That's random and interesting. Rachel and Eliza are planning their future together. One night in bed, Rachel wakes up terrified and tells Eliza that an ant has crawled into her eye and is stuck there.
No.
Rachel is certain. Eliza, a scientist, is skeptical. Suddenly, their entire relationship is called into question. What follows is a uniquely imaginative sequence of interlinked stories ranging across time, place, and perspective to form a sparkling philosophical tale of love lost and found across the universe. So, sounds kind of weird, but I like weird.
Wow.
Oh, one of the chapters just begins with a sentence, "To be a bat." Okay, interesting. Wonder what that's all about. So that's super fun. And then, okay, the last two books are possibly the most exciting ones just because these are two of my 3 books that I pre-ordered at the beginning of the year that have finally arrived.
Yes.
So the first one being Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I was kind of itching to pick this one up as one of my next books because I'm like, it's summer, it's one that I just got, but at the same time, I have all these old books that, like you said, I probably won't read anytime soon that I like also want to read. So I am glad that I'll be reading an old one, but I think this one might be up next to be read soon, because it just seems like a perfect summer read. Anyway, yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And the last book that I got is, wow, such a beautiful book. The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo. This one, oh my god, it's just gorgeous. And it's weirdly like kind of a small hardcover. I think I showed you a picture and you were like, are those both hardcovers?
Yeah, it seems
because The
pretty
Chosen and the
small.
Beautiful is smaller than Malibu Rising.
It was one of the ones I thought about picking for your books, but then I was like, you're definitely going to read that soon. Like, you're excited about
100%.
that. So I was like, that would be a waste of me getting to pick your book.
That's very true. Like, I think once I'm finished the Makioka Sisters, I really want to read Wild, because we've been talking about Wild for a long time. So I'm thinking Wild. I'm thinking these 2 books. So we'll see what actually happens. But yeah, because this one is, as you all probably know, because I've talked about it a few times, it is a Great Gatsby retelling. So Great Gatsby is a wonderful summer book, and so this is obviously going to be a great summer book as well. And oh my god, it's just so beautiful. I'll post a picture of these 2 on Instagram for sure, because they're just such attractive books. So that's my book haul. I think I have 2 more books in the mail, so I'll haul them probably next time, and then I'll be done. I'll be done for a while, because I am not allowed to buy any more books. I have to start reading these ones.
That's really funny. But no, it's fun. I think it's all good. And like you said, they were just kind of books that were coming. They weren't books that you just like went on a big splurge. It was slowly they arrived. I still have one book that I'm waiting for. I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I bought so many books that I had to make a little note for myself about what I had ordered, because I was like, I want to keep track to make sure, obviously, that they arrive and stuff. And so I've slowly over the weeks been checking them off once they arrive. And the only one I'm still waiting for is How Should a Person Be by Sheila Heti, which is her, I think it's her debut novel that I'm really excited to read. But I think it was like on back order or something like that.
Yeah, it's sure taking its time, because I feel like I've known about this one for a long time.
I know. I'm going to have to call the book, because I ordered it from a bookshop. I have to call them, and maybe they got it in and they forgot to email me or something. I don't know, Raylene, but there you go. That was fun. Okay, what do we do next? Oh yeah, we do book news next.
I was like, I don't know. I feel like I've been in a hole of a book haul and I can't crawl out.
It's time for book news. All right, I am going to be honest with you. I didn't find that much book news this week.
Oh, that's fine.
There wasn't that much stuff going on, and I actually think I texted you the main one that I was interested in about, which is that they are making a movie adaptation of Christine by Stephen King.
Oh yeah, a new one.
Yes. So I thought this was fun for a few reasons. First of all, obviously it's a book to movie adaptation. We just like, that's interesting. Secondly, it's a Stephen King adaptation, which, I mean, oh God, That guy has been so adapted. He must not even find it exciting anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like when one of his books gets adapted, he's probably like, okay, cool, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
But like,
I can see that.
Yeah, so it says Stephen King's, this is from the Variety article. Oh God, it would be, except that a massive ad for a car showed up. How do I escape it? Get me out of this ad. Okay. Stephen King's Christine getting big screen reboot. So I'm like, did they make a movie version of this before? Apparently. With Brian Fuller directing for Sony Pictures and Blumhouse. Brian Fuller. Didn't he do that Netflix show? Am I crazy? Looking into this. What else has Brian Fuller done? Nope. It's not the person I was thinking of. But he did write Pushing Daisies, Hannibal, American Gods, the adaptation. He has a lot of credits for Star Trek Discovery and stuff. Okay, you know what? He seems like a genius. So there you go. Whoa. He's also done a TV movie version of Carrie. So maybe he's a big Stephen King fan. But anyway, I thought that was fun because also, the final reason, I bought you that book, obviously, when you were in your car accident.
I forgot about the reason for that purchase. That's so funny.
Yeah, so there you go. It doesn't like say when it will come out or whatever. It's
it's just like in the beginning stages.
Pre-production. Yeah.
Which is like, I wish it was coming out sooner because I haven't seen the original movie yet, but it is on Netflix, and my friend and I have been enjoying watching the unoriginal movie and then its remake right after. I mean, we've only done it once with the Stepford Wives, but it was great fun.
Yeah.
So I've been dying to do that again. And we love Stephen King. So.
You got to do that with Pet Sematary. There's the really old Pet Sematary and the new Pet Sematary. That's true.
I haven't seen the old one. I have seen the new one, but
it wasn't very good, was it? It was only okay.
I don't remember. Yeah. I remember being scared by it, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty creepy concept. The other piece of book news that I have for you was actually sent to me by my friend Lena. I think she watched my video where I talked about the books I want to read over the summer.
Yeah. And
I had talked about John Steinbeck in that video, and so she sent me this link to this news. This is on JanuaryMagazine.com. This piece was written by Linda L. Richards. The article is just called Unknown Steinbeck Mystery Novel Uncovered. Whoa. It reads, in 1930, struggling writer John Steinbeck couldn't find a publisher for a mystery novel with supernatural undertones he called Murder at Full Moon.
That sounds
The writer of East of Eden and The Grapes of Wrath also wrote a book called Murder at Full Moon. Oh! As described by The Guardian, this is a book that both fans of the author and of early mystery would love to get their hands on, but it's been kept in the dark in archives for over 90 years. Why has it been blocked from publication? Okay, this is what The Guardian had to say. Now a British academic is calling for the Steinbeck estate to finally allow the publication of the work written almost a decade before. Oh, so it was like an early book of his. Yeah. Quote, there would be a huge public interest in a totally unknown werewolf novel by one of the best known, most read American writers. This is a novel that really nobody knows about. It's a complete novel by Steinbeck. It's incredible. But it doesn't say... Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says the 233-page typescript has been stored in the vast archives of the Harry Ransom Center at the University of Texas after Steinbeck's unsuccessful attempt to have it published. So it doesn't say why they're not publishing it, but maybe they will now that people are writing about it. But anyway, I thought that was so cool. It's just really cool to see when, like, you know, things are uncovered. Mm-hmm. Imagine a new George Orwell novel gets uncovered. I would die.
Do you remember that year when Goodreads did a prank on April 1st saying that there was a new Jane Austen book that had been discovered, but it was a prank?
Oh, I think I do remember that.
It was so mean. Everyone was so excited, and then people were like, come on, guys, look at the day.
That's just brutal. That is just brutal.
It was cruel.
Anyway, I thought that was cool. I guess I'll try and keep tabs on this. We'll see if any updates happen, if it gets published. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool if it got published because it's so ridiculous sounding, right? Like a werewolf novel? What?
By Steinbeck?
I feel like werewolves have really fallen out of fashion. They're not cool at all. Like, you know, when people are like, would you rather be a vampire, a werewolf, or a witch? Or like stuff like that. And you're like, why would anyone be a werewolf? There's literally no pros. You don't look cool. You don't live forever. You just kind of like are depressed for 3 days every month.
Yeah, it's a curse more than it is a
gift.
Nice thing.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, that's our book news, but you told me you're excited for book olds. What do you got?
Yeah, so this one popped up into my feed because one of my friends marked it as to read, and I was like, oh, interesting, because it's by an author who has another book that came out more recently that I think is more popular. Anyway, so this book is called Long Division by c40ead Lehman, and he is the author of the memoir Heavy that came out within the past couple of years. So that's the book that I imagine that when I hear his name. But this book is a novel, and I will read to you the synopsis.
Cool cover. Cool cover.
Written in a voice that's alternately humorous, lacerating, and wise, Long Division features two interwoven stories. In the first, it's 2013. After an onstage meltdown during a nationally televised quiz contest, 14-year-old Citoyen City Coldson becomes an overnight YouTube celebrity. The next day, he's sent to stay with his grandmother in the small coastal community of Mellahachie, where a young girl named Baze Shepherd has recently disappeared. Before leaving, City is given a strange book without an author called Long Division. He learns that one of the book's main characters is also named City Coldson, but Long Division is set in 1985. This 1985 version of City, along with his friend and love interest, Shalea Crump, discovers a way to travel into the future and steals a laptop and cell phone from an orphan teenage rapper called Baze Shepherd. They ultimately take these items with them all the way back to 1964 to help another time traveler they meet to protect his family from the Ku Klux Klan. It's like time travel, and it also involves the kind of celebrity aspect, like this type of story that you really enjoy, which is someone going from unknown to being famous celebrity overnight.
Yes.
But it's also like I hadn't actually read the full synopsis. I'm just realizing, because I didn't realize he went all the way back to 1964 as well. Wow. So this seems very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, it seems awesome.
Yeah. So and this one came out in 2013. So it came out a few years ago. So I am kind of itching to get my hands on this one now, because it just sounds like such an interesting concept. And I
love the cover.
Pretty unlike anything I've ever. Yeah, the cover is also beautiful.
I gotta look more into this one, Raylene. I feel like sometimes, sometimes book olds really makes us like want to read the book.
Yeah, like that's the idea.
I know, but like sometimes we actually then buy it, so you've got to be careful.
I know. But yeah, this one sounds really cool, and it doesn't have very many reviews on good. Like, it doesn't look like it's very popular, and I'm just wondering why. I don't mean popular like it's not. It doesn't. It has good reviews, but it just doesn't have very many reviews.
People read it. Yeah,
like not a lot of people seem to have read it. So I'm hoping that this could give it a little push, because it seems like a very interesting book.
I think the original cover isn't very nice. Maybe that didn't help it. Maybe it's like with the really pretty cover did better or something.
Yeah. It's possible.
Gosh, that's really cool. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I scroll through Goodreads reviews and I'm just like, what are we doing reviewing books? That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to like put a few sentences about what you felt, but you can't. How do you just say like, I give this book 1 star? And it's like, who are you? Who are you?
That's funny.
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
All right. I stopped giving star ratings on Goodreads like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Maybe even 3 years ago. It was a long time ago, because I was like, who am I? What are we talking about here? I'm like, if I love a book and it's like a 5-star or a 4-star, cool, I'll tell you. But if I'm like giving it a waffling rating, I don't want to bring negativity into the world, Raylene.
That's a beautiful thing about you.
One of my Raylene pats on the head. I did something good here. So anyway, everyone, let me know about that great mug idea. That's truly the takeaway from this episode, I think, was that huge breakthrough I had about that incredible mug that Raylene doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah, I don't really see your vision.
I think what's going to be funny is I think I'm going to have to like make it like a drawing of it or whatever, and put it on the Instagram somehow. Like sometimes when we have a digital book, like we read it on ebook or on audiobook, we'll do the thing where we take a photo of just our hand and then we CGI in with our huge movie studio budgets. We'll bring in a fake version of the book cover, and I'll just do that with the mug. Because the people need to see what I have in my little noggin. So thank you so much to everyone for listening to this episode. Thank you so much to our patrons, our beautiful, beautiful dust jackets. We love you guys so much, and we love making the podcast. We're excited for the upcoming book club. So we will post details about that both on Patreon in like a public post that anyone can see, but also on our Instagram, just laying out the dates. We have not decided those dates yet.
We haven't figured them.
But we're going to very soon we'll post those details so that you can learn everything you need to know if you want to participate in the book club. But also we are now going to go and do our mini podcast, Books on Bucket, where we answer one of our patrons' questions. And this week, our question comes from Carrot Caitlin, love that username, who asks us about our audiobook preferences. Caitlin says, if I can hear the narrator's saliva, I'm immediately out. So we're going to go into what are our loves and our dislikes for audiobooks, which will be a fun little chat. Thank you so much to everyone for listening. Happy Father's Day a week late to all the fathers out there, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!
Bye!